You won't believe what happened when a young woman with barely enough time in her day and barely enough money in her wallet took a chance on a man everyone else had already given up on. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you this. Have you ever made a split-second decision that changed everything? Maybe it didn't seem like much at the time, just a small act of kindness, a helping hand, a why not moment, but what if that moment was actually the start of something way bigger than you could imagine? What if the very person you helped, someone who looked like they had nothing to offer, turned out to be the one holding the key to your future? Stay with me because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly why this story is going viral, flooding TikTok and YouTube shorts with millions of views, and why the answer you came here for isn't just surprising, it's shocking. You clicked on this video because that title made you pause, right? Because deep down, you need to know, how does a homeless man, someone living on the streets, invisible to the world, end up walking into a sleek glass office as a powerful CEO? And how is the girl who once saved him connected to all of it? I promise you, you're not just going to get the answer to that. You're going to be part of the story. You're going to feel it. You're going to see why kindness isn't just a good deed. Sometimes, it's the very thing that opens doors we didn't even know existed. And if you've ever felt invisible, overlooked, or underestimated, then trust me, this story is for you. Let me set the stage. It's a chilly Monday morning in Chicago, the kind of day where everyone's hunched over, rushing past each other, earbuds in, coffee in hand, heads down, hearts colder than the wind whipping between high-rise buildings. You know the vibe. It's that hustle culture, that don't make eye contact energy that keeps cities moving fast and people disconnected. And right there, beneath the overpass just off Jackson Boulevard, sat a man wrapped in a threadbare blanket, clutching a paper cup more out of routine than hope. His name was Marcus, though no one asked. Most days, people passed by him like he was part of the sidewalk, like a cracked piece of concrete they'd rather forget. He didn't beg. He didn't shout. He just was. Until one day, she stopped. Her name was Lily. 27, tired, and barely holding it together. She worked long hours at a downtown advertising agency that paid her just enough to keep her afloat, but never enough to really breathe. She was smart, resourceful, and quietly battling the imposter syndrome that plagues so many women in male-dominated industries. On that particular morning, she was running late, juggling a burnout phone, a coffee she spilled on her blouse, and a client pitch that could make or break her career. But as she rushed across the sidewalk, something tugged at her, something that made her glance to the left and really see Marcus sitting there, shivering, eyes hollow, beard thick with weeks of cold weather and missed opportunities. And just like that, without even knowing why, she stopped. Now, Lily wasn't the type to hand out money on the street. Not because she didn't care, but because, like many of us, she had doubts. Would it really help? Would it go to the wrong thing? But there was something about Marcus, something in his eyes that felt familiar. So she crouched down, handed over the 5 crumpled dollars she was going to use for her lunch, and said 6 simple words that would change everything. I hope you get warm today. Here's where it starts to get interesting. Because that small moment, that tiny human interaction, it triggered a chain of events neither of them could have imagined. And trust me, what's coming next will have you questioning every stranger you pass, every decision you've ever made on a whim. The truth is, Marcus wasn't just a homeless man. He wasn't who the world assumed he was. He was hiding something huge. And Lily's act of kindness wasn't just touching, it was strategic in a way she could never have predicted. But we'll get to that. For now, all you need to know is that just 3 days later, Lily walked into her office, same heels, same blazer, same burned-out hustle, and found the entire team gathered around, buzzing with energy. Phones were out. HR was on edge. Something big was happening. The new CEO is here, someone whispered. He's shaking things up. Just got back from somewhere. And when Lily stepped into the conference room and locked eyes with the man standing at the head of the table, her heart nearly stopped. Because it was him. Marcus. Only this time, no blanket, no paper cup. Just a tailored suit, sharp eyes, and the kind of quiet power that made the entire room go still. And here's the thing, you think you know where this is going. Maybe you're thinking he was undercover. Or maybe he's some kind of secret billionaire testing the kindness of strangers. Maybe this is a Cinderella twist. But you're only scratching the surface. Because what Lily didn't know, what you don't know yet, is that Marcus didn't just show up to say thank you. He came with a mission. A personal mission that would pull Lily into the deepest part of her past and force her to face something she thought she'd buried years ago. So if you're still watching, and I hope you are, stay with me. Because this story is about more than just luck or fate. It's about redemption, power, trust, and the one moment that ties them all together. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how every piece fits, how every word spoken that cold morning echoed into something massive. You'll get the full picture. You'll see why Marcus ended up in Lily's office. But more importantly, you'll see what happened next, and why it left an entire company speechless. Now here's the part that's going to shake you. Marcus didn't come back for gratitude. He came back with a plan. And Lily? She's about to find out just how far one man will go for something he lost a long time ago. Ready to find out what it was? Stay with me. The truth is about to change everything. Lily stood frozen in that glass-walled conference room, her heart pounding so loud it drowned out the low murmurs of the office. Her eyes locked with his, Marcus, but not the Marcus she'd knelt beside just days ago. That version of him, the quiet figure beneath the overpass with chapped lips and tired eyes, seemed like a hallucination now. In front of her stood a man transformed, polished suit, confident posture, calm authority. But the eyes, they hadn't changed. And something in them flickered, a recognition, a private knowing. No one else in the room had any idea. They were busy whispering about his net worth, his rise in the tech world, the sudden acquisition of the ad agency by a parent company no one saw coming. But Lily knew this wasn't just a business move. This was personal, and she couldn't shake the growing weight in her chest that told her her life was about to be turned inside out. Later that day, back at her desk, Lily could barely focus. The whispers hadn't stopped since the morning announcement. He built a startup from nothing, someone said near the coffee station. Sold it for 8 figures. Another chimed in. Rumors swirled like wildfire on Slack. Buzzwords like tech billionaire, startup genius, hidden investor, and mystery CEO were trending across their internal feeds. Even TikTok had picked up wind of the story. Someone had leaked a blurry photo of Marcus in the elevator, and within hours, the hashtag #SoReveal was climbing into viral territory. Lily leaned into her chair, staring at the corner office where Marcus had disappeared hours ago. Why now? Why her company? Why her? But while Lily questioned everything, Marcus was watching. Not just her, but the company, the structure, the culture. He moved quietly, but with purpose. He didn't make sweeping announcements or flashy changes. He simply listened, observed, took notes. And every once in a while, when no one else noticed, his gaze would find Lily's. There was no doubt now. He hadn't forgotten her. And that terrified her more than she could admit. What Lily didn't know, what no one knew, was that Marcus hadn't just vanished from society and miraculously reappeared as a CEO. His fall from grace had been brutal, slow, and buried under secrets. Years ago, he was a rising star in the finance world. Married, successful, the kind of man who'd never even made eye contact with someone panhandling, much less become one. But a betrayal from inside his own company, followed by the death of someone he loved, had stripped away everything: his reputation, his wealth, his will. One night, he just walked away. No more suits, no more deals. He became a ghost in his own city. Until something changed. Until someone reached out to him. Not with pity, not with guilt, but with genuine human warmth. Lily's small gesture had sparked a fight in him he thought was long gone. And now he was back. Not for revenge exactly, but for truth. For justice. For unfinished business. But Marcus wasn't the only one with secrets. Lily had a past of her own, one she buried deep beneath spreadsheets and late nights at the office. The reason she stopped to help that day wasn't just kindness, it was instinct, born from experience. When she was 19, her older brother, James, had spiraled into addiction. He'd disappeared from their family for almost 2 years. When they finally found him, he looked like Marcus had that day. Broken, invisible. She'd never shaken the guilt of how easily she gave up on him, how quick she was to believe he'd never come back. Helping Marcus was her way of rewriting that memory, even if she didn't realize it at the time. But now, as the man she helped took over her company and began making quiet but significant changes, she wondered, had she really saved him? Or had she triggered something far more complicated? The agency buzzed with nervous energy over the next few days. Projects were delayed. Roles shifted. Meetings were scheduled and canceled last minute. Longtime execs were seen carrying boxes. People were whispering about layoffs, new structures, and unannounced investors. A YouTube creator known for corporate exposés had even picked up the story, uploading a 10-minute deep dive titled, "Who is Marcus Cole? The Homeless Man Turned CEO, Real or Publicity Stunt?" It was climbing fast on trending, full of reaction videos and duets speculating whether it was a PR stunt, a real-life undercover boss story, or part of some new show. And while the internet buzzed, Lily was pulled into a deeper mystery. She started noticing things. Old emails flagged for deletion, files disappearing from the cloud, internal documents referencing a Project Reverie she'd never heard of. Her name was listed in one of them. She tried to ask HR, but they brushed her off. One night, well past working hours, she found Marcus alone in the break room. He was sipping black coffee from a paper cup, staring out at the city. She approached him slowly, unsure whether to pretend nothing had happened or demand answers. Before she could speak, he said, "You looked at me like I mattered. Do you know how rare that is?" She didn't know how to respond. Was he grateful? Angry? Testing her? But before she could ask anything, he handed her a flash drive and said, "Don't open this at work. And whatever you do, don't tell anyone you have it." Then he walked out, leaving her holding a tiny piece of plastic that suddenly felt like a live wire in her hand. Lily barely slept that night. She plugged the drive into her old laptop, the one she kept at home and never used for work. What she found made her blood run cold. Internal memos, whistleblower reports, financial transfers, names she recognized, clients, co-workers, even a senior partner who'd mentored her. And at the center of it all, Project Reverie, a hidden account linked to millions in untraceable money, tied to a pitch Lily had helped build 6 months ago. A pitch that went nowhere. Or so she thought. Now it was clear. Marcus wasn't just here to run a company. He was here to burn the rot out from the inside. And somehow, Lily was already in the middle of it. But what neither of them knew yet was that someone was watching them. Someone who didn't want the truth to come out. And as Lily walked into work the next morning, clutching the flash drive hidden deep in her purse, a new name appeared on her calendar. An anonymous meeting request with no subject, no details, and a single word in the location. Basement. What was waiting down there? And who had sent it? The next chapter was coming. But neither Lily nor Marcus was ready for what it held. Lily sat in the empty conference room marked basement, her palms sweaty against the cool metal of her laptop. The walls around her were stripped of the sleek art and polished accents that adorned the upper floors. Down here, the air felt different, heavier, almost charged. She stared at the single flickering overhead light, its buzz louder than her thoughts. She wasn't even sure what she expected when she'd accepted the anonymous meeting invite, but she couldn't ignore it. Not after what was on that flash drive. Every instinct in her told her she was being watched, not just in that moment, but for days now. There was something rotten beneath the surface of this company, and Marcus hadn't just come back to save it. He came back to expose it. And if she didn't figure out her part in it soon, she might become collateral damage. As the door creaked open behind her, she turned sharply. But instead of Marcus, in walked Jenna, her closest friend in the office and the last person she expected to see involved in any of this. But the look on Jenna's face wasn't friendly. It was cold, determined, and laced with secrets. Lily tried to speak, to ask what Jenna was doing there, but her friend beat her to it. "You need to stop digging," she said quietly, as if the walls might have ears. "Whatever Marcus gave you, it's not what you think." Lily frowned, confused and suspicious, but Jenna continued. This isn't just about stolen money. It's bigger. There are people involved who can't afford to have this go public. They'll ruin you. They'll ruin him. You think helping a homeless man makes you a hero? You don't know who he used to be or what he did. Her words stung, but they also ignited a fire in Lily. This wasn't just some random betrayal. Jenna wasn't speaking from malice. She was afraid. And in that fear, Lily realized something else. This whole operation was being covered up not by incompetence, but by design. And the people behind it were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. As the elevator doors slid shut on her ride back up, Lily felt the atmosphere shift. The company's social media was exploding. Videos of Marcus speaking at past tech summits were going viral again, and people on YouTube were making content like the mysterious return of Marcus Cole, what happened to the disgraced financier, and real-life redemption arc or elaborate corporate play. The trending keywords Marcus Cole scandal, homeless to CEO, and secret company takeover flooded comment sections. The story had caught fire in the public eye. But what no one knew was that beneath the inspirational headlines was a ticking time bomb. Back at her desk, Lily found a manila envelope waiting for her. No name, no note, just a copy of a security camera still, Marcus, weeks ago, meeting with someone in a parking garage. Someone who looked alarmingly like Lily's late brother, James. Her mind reeled. She hadn't seen James in years, not since he'd relapsed again and vanished. Was it even possible? Could Marcus have found him? Why wouldn't he tell her? She grabbed her phone and rushed outside, dialing Marcus in a panic, but he didn't answer. Instead, a text came through. Don't call again.
Meet me tonight.
Roof. 11 p.m. Come alone. The way her heart sank was instant. Why was he being so cryptic?
Why now?
And why was she starting to feel like a pawn in someone else's game? Later that night, under a sky streaked with stars and the faint hum of city lights below, Lily found Marcus leaning against the rooftop railing. He didn't speak at first. His face was tired, almost haunted. I didn't want to involve you, he finally said. But they made sure you'd be the only one who could help. Lily showed him the photo of James. His jaw clenched, eyes narrowing. That's how they're going to control you, he said. Your brother's alive, but he's not free. They're using him.
Just like they used me.
Just like they'll use you, if we don't finish this. Her knees nearly buckled at the confirmation, but she gripped the railing to steady herself. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She asked. Marcus looked away. Because the minute you knew, you became a target. Suddenly, the rooftop door banged open, and a shadowed figure emerged. For a moment, Lily thought it might be James himself, but the voice that followed sent chills down her spine. You should have stayed in the basement, the man said, stepping into the light. He was one of the senior partners, Mr. Ellison, a man known for his calm demeanor and spotless track record. But tonight, his smile was anything but reassuring. You two think you're smarter than everyone else, but this company has survived longer than either of you have been breathing. We don't just fire problems here. We erase them. Lily and Marcus didn't move, calculating their next step as Ellison reached into his coat. But instead of pulling a weapon, he tossed a phone onto the concrete. A video began to play, a grainy recording of Lily handing the flash drive to someone at a cafe. A frame job. Evidence that could ruin her. Upload that, he said, and we'll tell the world it was you. Embezzler.
Spy.
Whatever sells. Marcus stepped forward, but Ellison raised a hand. Don't be a hero, Marcus. Not again. We gave you your empire back. Don't forget who gave you the keys. As the city buzzed below and wind swept across the roof, Lily looked at Marcus, then at the man who now held their lives in the palm of his hand. There was no going back. No pretending this was just another day in the office. The stakes had gone beyond corporate corruption. This was personal. This was war. And somewhere in the shadows, James was still out there, caught in a web that Lily didn't even know existed until now. The only question left was this. How far would she go to bring the truth to light? And who would survive long enough to tell it? The story was about to turn, and the next move could change everything.
You.
As the wind howled across the rooftop and the hum of the city pulsed beneath them like a distant war drum, Lily made a choice that would define everything. She bent down slowly, picked up the phone Ellison had thrown, and stared at the damning footage, her own image, her own betrayal, all out of context, all manufactured. Her breath trembled, but her voice was steady. "You really think this is going to stop me?" she asked, eyes locked on Ellison. Marcus stepped in, hand gently brushing her shoulder, and whispered, "Trust me." With that, he pulled out a second phone, one Ellison didn't know about, already recording. "You just confessed," Marcus said calmly, tapping the screen as the red, live indicator glowed bright. The phone was streaming directly to his verified YouTube account, where thousands were already watching after his recent viral resurrection. The trending keyword Marcus Cole redemption lit up the stream title, but it wasn't redemption they were about to see. It was the truth.
Raw.
Unfiltered. And irreversible. Ellison's face turned to stone, and for a moment, he looked like he might lunge forward, but Lily stepped in front of Marcus. "It's over," she said, as behind them, the rooftop door opened again. This time it was Jenna, no longer in sleek office wear, but a hoodie and jeans, holding a battered hard drive. "I couldn't let them silence me too," she said, handing it over to Marcus. "Everything's on here. The money trail. The ghost accounts. The blackmail footage they've used for years. Even the footage of James. I copied it all. They thought I was weak because I was loyal. But I'm not loyal to monsters." In that moment, the air shifted. For the first time, it felt like they had the upper hand. Ellison turned and bolted for the stairwell, disappearing into the shadows. But it didn't matter. The world was already watching. And nothing would be hidden anymore. 2 weeks later, the once flourishing skyscraper that housed one of the most powerful financial tech firms in the country was quiet. Federal agents swarmed through cubicles and offices, escorting suits and handcuffs down the elevator banks. The keywords flooding social media were corporate takedown, real-life movie plot, and Marcus Cole whistleblower. Lily watched it all from a cafe across the street, sipping lukewarm coffee and scrolling through her phone. Videos of her rooftop confrontation had garnered millions of views, and messages from strangers poured in. Thank yous, shock, even stories from others who had been silenced or crushed under similar power structures. It was surreal. The entire world had turned on its head. But none of it compared to what happened next. That evening, as the sun melted behind the skyline, Lily arrived at an old rehabilitation center tucked away on the edge of the city. She walked through the gates with cautious hope, her heart pounding in her chest. Inside, a nurse smiled and nodded silently, pointing toward the back garden. There, sitting on a bench under a rustling tree, was James. His face was thinner, older, but his eyes, those same stormy blue eyes, met hers with recognition. "I was waiting," he said softly. Lily ran to him, arms flung around his shoulders, the kind of hug that said, "You're home now, and I'll never let you go again." Marcus stood a few feet away, watching with quiet pride, then turned and walked off, giving the siblings space they'd lost years ago. Later, when they all sat together, James explained what had happened. He had tried to get clean, had even enrolled in a halfway program that turned out to be a front for the company's secret offshore laundering operations. He'd seen things, names, transactions, even fake IDs. When he tried to leave, they made him disappear. Marcus, during his time off the grid, had been tracking down former employees and found James by accident at an abandoned shipping facility used to store old tech. He hadn't told Lily because he knew that once she got involved, she'd be hunted too. But James had insisted, "My sister's the one person who would never run." In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The company's board dissolved, arrests were made at the highest levels, and a congressional inquiry was launched into corporate abuse and exploitation. Marcus was offered a chance to lead the rebuilding effort, but he declined. Instead, he founded a nonprofit dedicated to helping people re-enter society after homelessness or addiction, using the very money Ellison had stashed away. Lily, offered countless speaking gigs and media deals, took a quiet role as director of ethics in a new startup built on transparency, where Jenna now ran communications and no decisions were made behind closed doors. But just when it seemed the dust had settled, Lily received an anonymous envelope one morning, marked only with a wax seal. Inside was a simple note: "Not all ghosts stay buried," and a photograph, grainy, low resolution, of Ellison, standing on a beach in a country with no extradition treaty, smiling next to a man in a familiar hoodie. Lily's hand trembled as she held the photo, realization sinking in that the game might not be over. Not yet. But now she knew the rules. She had her brother, her voice, and the truth on her side. And whatever came next, she'd be ready. Because the girl who once stopped in the rain to help a homeless man had unknowingly rewritten the rules of power. And the world, it would never be the same again.